entitlement, isn't that usually when you want something that you have to work for, but you don't want to work for it? You just want it because you're entitled to have it.
Right. And it makes no sense to you that it makes no sense that you don't, that this person might like not be giving it to. I can think of what it makes, like when my children were young. That's something we all have to learn, right? And I certainly remember, certainly teenagery, thinking like, what do you mean I can't have that? Like, what are you talking about? I have the right, like if I'd ask, let's say, I'd ask my mom for money and she'd say no. And I would be so pissed off.
Right.
As if that were my money to take.
Right.
I felt so entitled.
I want the car keys.
Yes.
Brand new driver. Can I have the car keys? No.
No.
What do you mean? Give me the car keys.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Well, you're not using the car right now, and I have something important to do. I have to go pick up my friends and go to Taco Bell. Like, right. This is really important stuff.
Really important.
Or what?
No.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that we're not worthy of these things. Excuse me. However, fair energy exchange comes into play.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Fair energy exchange absolutely comes into play when you're talking entitlement.
Yes.
And
absolutely. Was there a fair energy exchange?
Yeah.
And when you're like as a teenager, that car didn't belong to me. What the hell made me think I could just have it any frickin' time I wanted to?
Right.
Well, no, you can't. Because it belongs. That person has to agree to that or not agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to just accept whatever because it's not mine.
Because it's not yours. Because you haven't gone through the experiences to earn it.
Right. Exactly.
So many people, and I have witnessed this, wrap their self-worth around that entitlement.
Ooh. Yes.
And they're two different things.
Yes.
Completely two different things. Sorry, y'all. I'm still got this cough.
She does.
Yes, I'm as sick of it as everybody else. So I feel your pain. Trust me. But that self-worth piece.
Mm-hmm.
When there's self-worth, there's a willingness to do the work.
Yes. Uh-huh.
There's a willingness to do your part of the energy exchange.
Yes.
To receive whatever it is that you're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
When it's just entitlement, it's all ego.
Oh, yeah.
And it's harsh.
Yes.
And
because, here's not, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Here's another thing that we saw. So when our kids went to a private high school, and there were a lot of very rich kids. It was a mixed bag at this school. Because the school also, it was a Christian school, and we didn't go because it was Christian, but it was a really great school and it happened to be Christian, right? So they also scholarshiped kids who couldn't afford it. So there was all kinds, so the gamut, we were somewhere in the middle. Anyway, I remember it kind of worked different, but some of the kids had so much money and they had like on their 16th birthday, they got a BMW, a brand new souped up, whatever. Like, even if we had the money, that would not have been what our kids had to share a car, and they had to learn how to share and anyway. But there were other kids who just felt entitled to whatever the rich kids had because they wanted it, or, well, you have so much,
Right?
Why can't, like I
Right.
remember, yeah, things like that. Like they'd, I don't know, go to the little student store to buy something, and there'd be a kid who doesn't have any money, and he would just expect the rich kid behind him to pay for his stuff. Well, you have the money for it. Well, that's not
Right.
the point.
Not the point at
No,
all.
no. And what are you going to do for me? And sure, I'll do a trade with you, or I'll do something. I know you don't have money, so let's do a trade or something. I don't know, wash my car, or you know what I mean? Do something like,
Right.
um, yeah. There does, and
Yeah.
our society right now, that's a huge. I mean, it always has been, especially with teenagers,
Sure. That,
but like they're owed
that's
something.
part of getting to know who you are.
Yes, it is. It is.
Hmm. And unfortunately, somewhere along the line, that piece of it, getting to know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
got overlooked.
Yes. Yes.
And it all became about what can I get? What can I get? What can I get?
Yes. And not what can I do to earn that?
Right.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, weren't you got inspired by something? You were watching something
Yeah. I was
on TV,
watching a
right?
disc golf tournament.
That's what it was.
Yep.
And there was someone that you really liked, and she really
Yep.
inspired you.
My favorite female player, first round, she played awful.
Oh,
And it was obvious by her body language, obvious to me. She's either sick, she is not feeling good, or she is in emotional turmoil.
yeah.
She ended up winning the tournament. As the day went on,
She pulled her shit together.
game turned
Whatever.
around, and then the next 2 days, it was a 3-day tournament. The next 2 days, she played really well. The end of the last day, it was obvious she was not well. It was obvious she was tired. Her body wasn't performing up to its standard. I read an article this morning, or a post that she had written, that she was ill. And she started in that first round really doubting herself, really questioning, should she be there?
Sure.
And
And
then,
having to perform, to physically perform at a level that she is at, any level, really. Anytime
mhm.
you have to go and perform, you have an expectation on yourself, and you know how well you can do. And then to not feel well,
And
woof.
then there's the expectation of everybody watching.
Yes. Yes.
You know, she could very easily have gone to that place of self-pity,
Mm-hmm.
given into her illness, and just, gone through and finished whatever. She could have been not playing well and be disgruntled that I should have won anyway because I'm entitled to this.
Right.
But what she did is she looked in and she went, wait a minute. I know what I'm capable of.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can do this. And she found that self-worth.
And she totally could have made excuses for her not playing well. I don't feel well, blah, blah, blah. Like there's all kinds of things she could have done. Bravo to her
Yeah.
for saying
She's,
no. This is
yeah.
important to me, and it's what I do, and it's important to other people too.
Hmm.
You need to show up. If
Hmm.
you can show up, you need to show up.
You need to show up.
Good for her.
Um, her mental game is amazing. Um, yes, I have seen her have bad moments. I have even seen her break down and cry. And then she picks herself up.
Good for her.
She finds her authority, her ownership,
Mm-hmm.
and she just marches on and
I
does
love
the
that.
very best that she can in any
I
given
love
moment.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She has, I believe, and I heard someone else say this too, that she has pushed the women's division to be better.
Yep. Good
Mm-hmm.
for her. There's always one that can do that because now
Uh-huh.
everyone else has they're more to strive for. They can see it can be done. Ooh, it that lifts
Yeah.
everyone's game up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, there's very little emotion showed. Well, she shows very little emotion, good or bad.
Yeah.
But there are some players, they have a bad shot and they kick their disc or they,
Yes.
you know what? Sorry to throw you under the bus, Tiger Woods, but didn't he break his golf club one time? He's a
No,
golfer.
no, it's possible.
I want to say he had a bad shot and he broke his golf club over his knee or something and threw it or
See,
um
and I'm going to, and then and that's just like bad sportsmanship, or that's like boo-hoo, poor
right,
thing. But then there are
right.
some, like John McEnroe, remember with tennis? He got mad, it made him play better. That kept him going.
That was his fire.
But that was all the time. That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like this, like with Tiger Woods, that was he just threw a hissy fit.
Right.
He got pissed, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so this woman she is so inspirational. And she talks about, yes, she's human. Yes, she has
Nice.
low moments. She always finds that way, though,
Good for
to
her.
look in and take that ownership. Nothing entitled about her.
Nice.
When she loses, she is gracious and
Is
supportive to who wins.
which is not easy to do. That is
No,
not
it's
easy
not.
to do.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
But that's real worthiness. That's someone who knows who she is and
Yes.
and is able to still stand, because really when you can congratulate that person who just beat you. That really does show your own personal worthiness and how you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know how my screen, sometimes I'll get the thumbs up and whatever. I got a thumbs up when
Yep.
I did that. It didn't come up here,
Oh,
but
I didn't see it, but you saw it?
yeah,
That's awesome.
it just showed down here. How bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a
Awesome.
weird little
So
thing, but I love it.
that's what got me thinking this morning about self-worth
Yeah.
and then entitlement. Um, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And it's inspiring. Yes. And things that are things you have to work for are so much more appreciated than things that you don't. Just some things that are just given to you.
Right.
There's so much more worthiness in having to work for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So much more.
Mm-hmm. It's well, it goes back to that energy exchange, right?
Yes.
Because when you put yourself into something and you get that reward,
Yeah.
it almost feels like a part of you.
Yes.
Whereas if it's a part of someone else and they just go, oh my God, sorry. I just got shown of like old codependent me, vomit.
Ugh.
You give somebody, you just give it to them, hand it to them.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with them.
Yes. Nope.
And there's no appreciation because there's no energy exchange around it at all.
No. Of course, I was not, no one's a perfect parent, of course. That is one area I'd like to think I don't just think, I know my children are adults now and they're starting their own families. And I can say this with my head held high and very proud that we did teach our children to work for what they want. And they're not in, did they go through that a bit as teenagers? Of course, because you're supposed to. That's when you go through some of that entitlement crap. But they're both, or neither one of them are entitled little brats, and they both work for what they want, and both very differently too. Very differently. One of them, he doesn't want as much as the other one does, like the other one, but he's willing to, the one who does want more, like a bigger house or a better car or better things or whatever, but he works hard for that. The other one, he doesn't want as much, but he works for his, but he still works for all of his own stuff. So it really looks different to everyone. But I can be proud of that neither of my children are entitled little brats. They both work hard for what they have. They do it, again, in different ways. They're both very giving and kind. We had them volunteering at a very young age.
Oh, nice.
We always, and then their dad and I have, always volunteered. And I think that's really good for kids to see, to witness mom and dad doing that, or for the kids to volunteer and you're not getting anything material out of it. You're just,
yeah.
I think that's a really good thing too. And that does teach a worthiness.
I agree.
As opposed to an entitlement. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting to me how your two sons, because they're relatively close in age,
just 2 years apart,
of how different they go about things.
Yes.
I was an adult when I realized, and this, I hope this makes sense.
Okay.
When I realized that my experience in my family was not the same as my sister's experience in my family.
Yes. Yes.
I guess I never really thought about it. I just had
Does anyone really think about
that
it?
Everybody has the same experience.
Yeah. Well, why would you think? Honestly, like because we just think of the world from our own point of view most of the time, right? So of course we would think that everyone, and no, very different.
Extremely different.
Yeah. I remember, sorry, and I'll let you, but speaking of that, like our kids were so different. There was one son who we could send him to his room, like he got in trouble, send him to his room. And it was like, we just told him he was dying soon. Like it was the fit and and the other one would be like, okay. And he would just go play with his toys or what, like it was not a punishment whatsoever.
Yep.
Yes. You can't, the kids are so different.
That's like my great niece and great nephew.
Yes.
You send him to his room and there's chaos.
Yes.
You send her to her room. I'd rather be in there alone anyway. Right. Off she'll go and she'll just play for hours.
Yes. You cannot, if you're looking for a punishment, as you would call it, that was not punishment to one of my sons. It just wasn't. We had to come up with other things that we knew would make him suffer for whatever it was that he did. But the other one, yes.
That's when my mom would send me to my room to sit on my bed.
Oof. And
that's all I could do.
That's all you could do.
All I could do, sit on the bed and think about what I had done.
Oof. That has long-term, as we know. And she certainly did not know that. None of us do. None of us know what the big consequences is for that. But that think about what you did is so damaging. It's traumatizing.
Yes.
It's true because we don't know. You have a little brain. You're just you don't know anything. Okay, I'm thinking
I'm
about
like,
what I did. What does that
thinking
mean?
about it, and I'm like, I'm such a bad person.
Yes, because we don't understand what we did wrong. We don't understand why that's wrong. Maybe sometimes we do, but I'm talking about but like, think about what you did. Well, okay, think about what I did. So I'm bad and I'm this horrible person or whatever it is. Yeah, that can be really detrimental.
And she had no idea.
None.
Zero.
I've learned to shame because I was shamed into when I would do something wrong. Part of the punishment was my mother, father, sisters, brothers. Shaming was big in my family, right? So I did the same to my kids. I thought that was, I didn't even think, actually. There was no thought process.
No thought.
Yes.
That's just how it's done.
Yes. Yes. And so thankfully, and I know but as an adult, I've been able to go back to my children and talk to them about that. And that's the only way I know how to apologize. I mean, I apologize, but then to talk to them about that and whatever. But not everyone I certainly my mother
about where it came from and
yes.
That you understand the kind of damage that it can cause and
did.
Yeah. Sure.
But like most parents don't go back and talk to their children that way, which is really
no.
Can you imagine the amount of healing that could be done if we could have those conversations with parents? The healing for everyone, right? That feels so good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But most of the time you don't get that, which is part of the reason and the job that I have, right? This is I get to help people with that sort of thing. And so yeah, to be able to go back and do that with my children, and hopefully they'll be able to do it with their children, and because they're gonna fuck them up too. Everyone does, to a certain extent.
Just because, how do I want to say this? It's a beautiful thing that your sons were willing to hear you.
Yes.
Because there's no guarantee.
No.
That when a parent goes to have this conversation with the child, that the child's going to be open to hearing it.
Yeah. No, not at all. No.
None. So that's a real blessing.
It is. It is. I give them lots of credit for that. And I even had one son who was aware enough at one point. I had done something and he was very hurt by it and angry and lashed out at me. And when we were finally able to talk about that, it was like a couple weeks later, maybe, he was able to say, Mom, I was hurt and I wanted to hurt you the way I was hurting. I was so proud of him. Like I almost forgot that he was saying it to me, and then we had this thing happen because I was so proud. It's like, yes, that's exactly what you did, and you recognized it, and you were able to say that. And isn't it a shame that sort of societal norms or whatever it is, I don't even know if that's what it is, that we're really not. It's sort of frowned upon to be so vulnerable and honest about our own shit.
Yes.
It is. Like we don't teach that on a larger scale at all.
No, we don't.
Mm-mm.
No, because it's uncomfortable.
Yes. And we are taught, though, oh, just apologize, it'll be over. Which I think is wrong also. If you're not really sorry, I don't want to hear your apology. If it's not heartfelt, if it's not what I don't want, that's because it's not an apology. You're just trying to get it to be done now.
Or how about, okay, it's done and over, just forget about it.
That one is so rough.
Don't bring it up.
Look at the thumbs up.
Don't bring it up. Don't ever talk about it.
Don't ever talk about it. It's over.
Then it's over. It's in the past.
Yes. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's sad, and it's I'm really hopeful. Now you and I both have some younger clients,
Yes.
and I know they listen to this podcast, so hey girls. And it's so beautiful to be able to have those conversations with these younger people and have them really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
It is.
And for them, and certainly the two that we're talking about, because we have others, but certainly the two that we're talking about are probably, in my opinion, they really have it. They really understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand owning your shit and the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of owning your shit, because that leads to healing, and and to be vulnerable is okay, and more than okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that as a human race,
Yes.
well, clearly the goal of being human is to find self-love,
Yes.
right? And I'm talking real, honest, full
Yes.
on, complete.
Which comes from but tons of healing. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Healing and owning your shit has been taboo.
Yes.
And we are now talking to people and helping people, and they're realizing
Yes.
how important and how beautiful it is.
Yes.
And the more people that learn this can go, at some point, they can go talk to their grown children.
Yes.
And then eventually, these grown children are going to be able to begin to teach their children about self-love at an earlier point in their life.
Yes.
Wounding is still going to happen.
There's no
right?
way out of it.
We have to learn lessons. However,
we don't come into life to not be wounded. I mean, that's
right.
Why we come into life, is we have lessons, and that's the way you learn them. Yeah,
exactly.
That evolution.
But I do believe that as children start having a bigger awareness
Mm-hmm.
of self-love,
Mm-hmm.
that it will change the way humans interact on a whole.
Yes, I agree. And I do have some hope for this newer this generation, sort of like my kids' age generation, 30-ish, late 20s, early 30s, right in whatever that group is. I know they have a name for every group, and I don't know what the fuck that is. And
I don't know.
Do I care? But there seems to be a like they want to be aware. They want to, every generation, kids want to do things the opposite of their parents, I think, and I will admit the generation that, or me, that I'm in, that you're pretty close to. I mean, we could call ourselves in the same generation, right? I think within 10 years is probably a generation. It was so different than it is when, I think my generation raised a lot of, we were raised, and like our parents. How often did your parents go to school to watch your stuff, or show up at the school to volunteer, or what? Like, they just didn't do it for our generation. We were, you know what I mean? Like, it just never happened.
For me, yes, that was always.
Oh, really? Oh,
Always.
okay. We were
Yes.
different in that way. Yeah.
Yes.
They were there all the time.
Yes.
Nice. Mine would show up if I had like my dad always did, like a sporting event or something. But
No, my mom volunteered a lot.
that's so
Not
nice.
not in high school, she didn't, but then I don't know that you have parent volunteers in high school. I don't know.
High schoolers don't want their parents around.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, but even in high school for um events and extracurricular things, yeah, my parents showed up always.
There you go. I just remember a lot of when our kids were small, the other parents, there was a lot of that. I'm going to give my kids what I never got, or I'm going to do whatever, but it was always sort of a more of a material thing or and now like with our kids that are now having children, they, at least the ones that I know that, so my sons and then their friends who are, there's a different view of how to raise children. And it's, at least the ones that I know, it seems to be much kinder. They talk more. There's less of a, we're going to give them everything because I never had anything. It's really inspiring to me anyway.
A different way.
Yeah. And it's time. It's time for that switch to sort of happen. It's really good.
Sometimes that switch will happen because of overcompensation.
Well, that's what the parents in my, when we had children, there was a lot of that overcompensation, a lot of entitlement and a lot of like those kids. But now they're having their own children and it's changing a little bit.
And they're thinking about it and they're going,
Yeah.
wait a minute. There is a different way to do that.
Yes. Thank God. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. So yes, entitlement versus worthiness. Work on your worthiness.
Yeah.
Let's work on sort of really deserving those things, but not even deserving, because you don't, even that, just because you work hard, you don't deserve. It's not necessarily like deserving, right?
Well,
like deserving, maybe that's just sort of a word that sucks for me.
everyone is worthy and deserving of the things that they want.
Okay.
And there is a responsibility and accountability and a personal investment that comes with that to create that even energy exchange.
And what is that you want? I think that's part of it too. Like if you're just like the material piece of it, that can lead to a lot of unhappiness. I was recently listening to someone, I don't remember who it was. I think I told you about this, and he was saying that he knows a lot of very rich people and none of them are happy. They have all the toys, they have all the bells and whistles and all the everything.
Sure.
And they're just not happy. But the guy that came to, fix his air conditioning is like a really happy guy. He has his family, he's taking care of his family, he gets, whatever. And that's so true. It's not about the material things in life. Are they nice to have? Or there's certain comforts that are really nice, right? Obviously. But that's not the end all. And there's, especially with like, there's so many millionaires now that because of like social media, you have all these people that can do YouTube channels or TikToks. Or do you make money on TikTok? I think you do. I don't know. Anyway.
No idea.
I know. I don't know any of that stuff, but people are they're being influencers, or when we have all these millionaires that we never had before, or just different ways. I've just heard that we've had, and I'm not talking about like 500 million. I'm talking about like a million, like that's considered a millionaire, right? but so many of them are so unhappy and they've lost themselves. How many like influencers or people that, they get to the point where it's all about doing to get something outside of themselves. It's not about working on them and finding who
Sure.
they are, finding your true worth. Yeah. And that's something that we certainly hope everyone does, and we all need to do. And it starts with dignity, right? The foundation of worthiness is dignity. Do you feel your own dignity? Do you show others dignity? Do you show other people that they have dignity?
Do you even know what dignity means?
Oh, there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dignity is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look up the Webster's definition of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is, it's the respect I have for myself. And everyone being human deserves that modicum of respect. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was just gonna go back to the yeah. Can't
Okay.
even think of the word now.
Dignity, the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. And it's not the same as respect. And it's not the same as worthy, but they're in that. But to me, it's how, yeah, dignity, the state or quality of being worthy of honor and respect. And everyone is worthy of having respect. I don't want to use the word respect. See, I don't put respect in there, and I just said it. Honor, to be honored, or to,
See,
yeah.
I agree with that definition.
Okay.
I believe everyone is worthy. Baseline.
Yes, yes. I think it was the way I read it, and it came that because respect is different, but you can be respectful. So it's being respectful of.
If I walk into a room, every person in that room is worthy of me showing them respect.
Yes.
Until they prove otherwise.
Right.
That baseline.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Because you are a human being, yes, you are unequivocally worthy of.
Yes.
Worthy.
Yes, being spoken to in a polite manner, not having hands put on you, not being forced to do something. I think of with customer service, which can be really difficult. Anyone who's been in customer service knows that can be really, but if we all showed more dignity toward each other, it would be so much nicer. It would be, yeah. But that's where it starts. For me, that's where really finding your own worth starts, is from that place of dignity. And also how you treat other people shows your worthiness. I believe. So
shows how you feel about your worthiness.
Yes. Yes. Now, can we all have bad days and so forth? Absolutely.
Sure.
But yeah, being respectful and being polite is a form of dignity. I have enough dignity within myself that I'm going to show that to you as well. And it does. Like we always say, if someone screams and hollers at you or whatever, it says a lot more about them than whatever the words they're throwing at you. No, it says a lot more about that person, about how they're just acting like a moron. Can I say that? I think so. I just did.
Well, you just did.
I just did, so
Mhm.
there you go. Yeah.
Mhm.
But so
Yeah, those people that act out, that says a lot about how worthy they don't feel.
yes, which is a way to think about it. When you see someone
Mhm.
in a grocery store or at a restaurant or whatever, and they're screaming and yelling about something, it doesn't even matter what.
They're acting all entitled.
They're acting all entitled. You know that they don't see themselves very highly. They don't feel it. There's not, they'll tell you they have worth because I
Oh yeah.
deserve this or I deserve that or I whatever.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
And
and
the more bristle there is,
yes,
the less self-worth there truly is.
yes, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's really, if you get that triggered over, I don't know what, someone just telling you no, or I'm sorry, that's not the policy here, or something, you have bigger fish to fry than whatever that thing is that you're not getting.
Yeah.
You have a lot more to look at.
True that.
Yes.
True that.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, well, that kind of
anyway,
went full circle.
it did. And this is kind of a short podcast today. Would sort of, I guess, kind of apologize to those who like to show up for an hour and we're not giving you an hour today. I'm really struggling today. I'm really, maybe we will get to an hour because if I start talking about my struggle, then maybe we'll get,
Yeah,
yeah,
talk about it.
I didn't sleep well for several nights in a row. And that, after a few nights of that, I get stressed about it. And that leads to, sort of my hormones going, cortisol and those other stress hormones, right? And then I don't sleep well again because of that. And then we had a great day yesterday, my husband and I, it's Memorial Day weekend. And so, um, first of all, I always thank you to all the veterans who are listening. Thank you to all the veterans everywhere in whatever dimension you reside. We are so grateful for your service and your time. My father was in World War II. The reason we can sit here today and talk as openly and honestly as we do is because of those people who fought for us to have the right to do this, right? So thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you. I want to first say thank you for your service to everyone. Um, anyway, so we went out, had a fabulous date, went for a hike and, had lunch out, which we don't eat out a whole lot anymore because we're both really weird about what we eat these days. And then last night, I don't know if you all heard of valerian root, but there's a tea that puts valerian to help you sleep. And
Well, help some people sleep.
that's right, not you.
Valerian root will. If I drank valerian root, I would be up for days.
Oh, that is so sad.
If that's what I just drank,
Yes.
I wouldn't sleep for,
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah.
well, one of the nights I tried it and it did nothing. I mean, when I have those kind of stress type nights, it is just not going to help. It just doesn't. But so after a long day yesterday, the hike, the everything, I was tired. But it's, how when you feel tired early, and I don't know if this is or just because I'm old, but I know I'll know, or it's like, oh shit, if I fall asleep now, I'm going to be in big trouble. I'm going to wake up at 2 a.m. and not be able to go back to sleep. But it was early. It was like 8 o'clock, 8:30, more like 8:30. And I got two tea bags. So I did 2 tea bags, let it steep for like 15 minutes. Like I wanted that sucker strong. And boy, did I sleep. I slept for like 11 hours or something. And
Nice.
so I don't feel drugged today. It's not that kind of feeling, but it feels like the other end of an adrenaline rush. Like that's what my body feels like it
Like an
releases.
adrenaline dump.
Yes. Yes, very much
Sure.
so. And I'm just sort of in that. I'm thankful. My body feels good and everything just feels like I just had that dump and I feel tired and my brain's not quite functioning the way it normally does. So it's just one of those kind of days. And so yeah, so it's going to be a little shorter than usual this podcast. And I know you all understand and I thank you for that. So, all right. Well, if you
Great.
haven't already, please subscribe, like, share, do all that great stuff. Leave your comments, send in your comments wherever you're listening from. We appreciate it. We love all your comments.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. If you want to know more about us, tcseverydayspsychics.com is the website.
Yes.
Contact us form is there as well. Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right. Take care, everybody.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.